2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury.
Exclusively learned the U.S. military could strike Iran as soon as Saturday.
Tel Aviv is under ballistic missile fire right now.
2:13 a.m. Al-Assad Air Base, Iraq. Master Sergeant Cole Mercer is checking a mission tablet beneath dim red light, rotor wash already rattling the canvas walls outside. In 47 minutes, everything he knows about shadow war is going to change. Across the border, inside a hardened cyber operations compound west of Kermanshah, a digital strike package is arming itself for release. Not a missile barrage alone, not a drone raid alone. A coordinated hunt, and if it works, thousands of American and allied personnel from Qatar to Bahrain could go partially blind at the worst possible moment. The night feels deceptively calm. Over the western Iraqi desert, the air is cool, thin, almost clean. You can hear generators humming, the metallic clink of a crew chief checking a fast rope anchor, the muffled chatter of pilots inside two MH-47G Chinooks warming up on the strip. 40 operators from Delta Force, 12 Rangers attached for outer security, 4 Air Force combat controllers, 2 cyber exploitation specialists, and 1 Arabic linguist are standing by with blacked-out patches, suppressed carbines, breaching charges, thermite grenades, fiber kits, and capture bags for hard drives. Every man knows the target is not just a building, it is a nervous system. Zoom out, and the stakes get bigger fast. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar remains the beating operational heart of U.S. air coordination in the region. The 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain anchors maritime control. Patriot batteries protect critical nodes. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers patrol nearby waters. F-35S and MQ-9S cut tracks across the dark. The Strait of Hormuz is only a few bad decisions away from global economic panic. Oil routes, desalination plants, air traffic networks, command relays, satellite links, this whole region runs on timing, electricity, and data. Break the data, and steel suddenly feels blind. Imagine you're here, coffee gone cold in the Combined Air Operations Center, wall screens glowing blue, operators with headsets tracking dozens of normal returns, tankers on station. Cargo flights timed down to the minute. Then ask yourself this: how do you defend a theater of war when the first weapon isn't explosive, but invisible? Inside the Iranian planning cell in this hypothetical scenario, that question has an answer. They intend to make the defenders look in the wrong direction. Their strike package is built around 52 airborne threats launched in coordinated waves, 6 Fateh-110 ballistic missiles, 10 Pave-class cruise missiles, and 36 Shahd-136 drones. But those are only the visible teeth. The real bite is digital. From a hardened compound tied into buried fiber lines, microwave relays, and redundant diesel-powered server rooms, Iranian cyber operators prepare a parallel offensive designed to spoof regional radar tracks, jam logistics scheduling, overload base access control systems, and trigger malicious commands inside selected industrial controllers linked to water and power facilities used by U.S. partners. Their calculation is brutally simple. Saturate the sky, overload the screens, create just 18 minutes of confusion. That's all they think they need. 18 minutes to delay sorties. 18 minutes to sever trusted data paths. 18 minutes to prove that the American shield can be stalked, cornered, and made to flinch. From their perspective, the plan is elegant. Ballistic missiles force immediate interceptor launches. Cruise missiles fly low, terrain hugging, aiming for radar and communications nodes. Shaheds arrive noisy, cheap, and numerous, pressuring every layer below. While commanders focus on the kinetic threat, the cyber cell pushes false tracks and malicious packets through already compromised infrastructure. If even part of it lands cleanly, the political effect could outweigh the physical damage. Markets panic. Regional governments question protection guarantees. Propaganda channels light up before the smoke clears. That is what they hope to achieve. And for a few dangerous minutes, they believe they can. But there's a problem with their plan. They assume the cyber compound itself is untouchable, protected by distance, buried architecture, local air defense, and the oldest shield in warfare, confidence. They assume no one has mapped the power layout inside the facility. They assume no one knows about the server halls on Sublevel 2 and the cold storage archive behind Blast Door C4. They assume their launch authorization traffic blends into routine encrypted noise. What they didn't account for is information dominance. For weeks in this fictional scenario, National Security Agency analysts, cyber command operators, and regional ISR assets have been building a mosaic, not one giant breakthrough, 100 small ones. Shift changes, generator testing cycles, microwave relay angles, delivery trucks arriving every third night, heat blooms from HVAC exhaust stacks, pattern of life analysis from MQ9 feeds, signal collection from an RC-135 rivet joint orbiting outside Iranian airspace, correlation from space-based infrared systems watching for missile prep signatures. One thread means little. Together, they reveal the predator's path. The fatal flaw is not their missiles, it is their emissions. At 2:19 a.m., the first anomaly hits. Cyber operators monitoring regional network traffic see a sharp burst of unauthorized beaconing aimed at logistics enclaves used by coalition air operations. At 2:20, an RC-135 picks up encrypted command traffic that doesn't fit routine defensive posture. At 2:21, space-based infrared sensors catch 6 distinct heat blooms from ballistic launch points. 4 seconds later, automated warning logic pushes the alert through CENTCOM channels. Threat launch confirmed. Now you're there. Sirens don't always sound like the movies. Sometimes it's harsher, more clipped, less drama, more procedure. Screens flash, headsets snap on, battle captains lean over consoles. Authentication codes are read back. In Qatar, Patriot crews sprint to engagement stations. On destroyers in regional waters, Aegis teams lock in firing solutions. F-35 pilots already airborne are rerouted by data link. Growler crews push jamming profiles into the stack. At Al-Assad, the Delta package gets the word every operator both wants and hates to hear: execute. Mercer looks up once, just once, as the Chinook ramp vibrates under his boots. No speeches, no movie lines, just the crew chief's hand signal and the rising scream of rotors biting desert air. The missile defense fight begins at altitude. The 6 Fata 110S climb hard, hot, and fast. Their arcs are brief, violent, designed to compress the defender's decision window. This is where training earns its keep. Patriot Pack. 3 batteries receive track quality data almost immediately. Aegis systems refine the picture. Kill chains that took far longer a generation ago now work in seconds. 1 interceptor launches. Then another. Then 4 more. White lances rise into the night, and the first ballistic target disappears in a sharp, unnatural bloom high above the Gulf. 5 seconds. That's the difference between alarm and impact for some crews tonight. 2 more Fates break apart under direct hit-to-kill intercepts, fragments burning out over open terrain. A 4th is clipped, tumbles, and crashes far short of its intended target. The 5th and 6th split the picture, trying to complicate the defense, but the network is fused now. Too many eyes, too many processors, too many trained humans refusing to blink. Both are destroyed before terminal phase. 6 launched, 6 defeated. The first layer holds. But the sky isn't empty, not even close. At low altitude, the Pave cruise missiles come stalking over terrain folds, trying to use the Earth itself as camouflage. This is where the engagement gets ugly. Cruise missiles are harder to see, harder to sort, harder to kill cleanly because they live in the clutter where mistakes happen. F-35, as pushed forward by the alert, are already receiving a cleaner picture than the attackers expected. Sensor fusion matters. 1 aircraft sees a heat source. Another confirms movement. A destroyer contributes track continuity. Suddenly, the hunted become visible. Would you trust that picture at 540 knots in the dark? 2 F-35s roll in first, releasing beyond visual range missiles at standoff distance. 1 Pave detonates over barren ground. Another loses guidance and buries into a ridge. A third is taken by an SM-6 over water. A 4th survives long enough to force a Patriot battery into a rapid re-engagement. Then it, too, vanishes in a flash. 10 cruise missiles entered the fight. By minute 7, 8 are gone. The remaining 2 slip farther south, still dangerous, still moving, still forcing everyone below to keep breathing through clenched teeth. Then come the Shaheds. 36 of them. Cheap engines, distinctive buzz, slow enough to mock, numerous enough to terrify. 1 drone is a nuisance. 36 is math. This is where saturation becomes a psychological weapon. Radar operators know many will be killed. They also know 1 or 2 can still matter. An empty transformer yard hit at the wrong time can blind a camera network. A maintenance hangar struck during scramble can jam a runway cycle. Small warheads, big consequences. The defenders answer with layers. EA-18G Growlers start peeling guidance off parts of the formation with electronic attack. F-35S and other fighters take the outer ring, splashing drones one after another, where missile economics still makes sense because the stakes are strategic. Closer in, ground-based guns and short-range systems take over. CRAM and other point defense weapons hammer the dark with controlled bursts. You can hear it now if you're standing near the perimeter, the tearing mechanical roar, tracer streams reaching up, the sky briefly looking stitched together with fire. One drone falls, then 5, then 12. Minute 9, 23 Shaheds destroyed. Minute 11, 29. Minute 14, 33. 3 break off course under jamming and crash harmlessly in open ground. That leaves 3 that still matter. 1 slams into a vehicle yard and ignites fuel bladders. 1 strikes an empty maintenance shelter. 1 detonates near a secondary transformer enclosure, throwing sparks and dust into the air. Loud, chaotic, visually dramatic, strategically minor. Final airborne tally in this fictional battle: 52 launched, 49 destroyed, 3 penetrated, 0 strategic effect. And that number tells its own story. But the real target is not in the sky anymore. It's in the mountains. As the defensive battle peaks, the counterstrike decision is already climbing the chain. This part matters, because modern warfare is not just about who shoots faster. It's about who decides faster with enough certainty to act. The president is briefed. The chairman is looped in. CENTCOM confirms attribution thresholds have been met in this hypothetical scenario. Cyber Command verifies that malicious traffic is still being routed through the Kermanshah compound. The recommendation is immediate. Cut off the hand behind the attack before it launches a second wave. Authorization comes down in words so short they barely feel real. Proceed. Now the hunt reverses. A Virginia-class submarine in the Arabian Sea launches a limited volley of Tomahawk land attack missiles, not at cities, not at broad infrastructure, but at 3 selected radar sites and 2 microwave relay nodes tied to the cyber compound's regional connectivity. Simultaneously, F-35S push toward Iranian air defense seams, using stealth, electronic support, and standoff munitions to blind search radars along the narrow ingress corridor. An MQ-9 tracks vehicle movement outside the target area. An AC-130J Ghost Rider shifts closer to the border, close enough to matter, far enough to stay survivable until called. Inside the first MH-47G, Mercer feels the aircraft drop lower. Terrain following flight at night is violence without impact. The mountains loom where you can't see them. The pilot rides instruments and instinct. The ramp shakes. Rotor wash slams dust off the ridgelines. No cabin light now. Only green glow from goggles and the silent outline of men checking magazines, cutters, cuffs, breaching tape, and demolition timers for the last time. The target compound sits in a shallow industrial cut west of Kermanshah. 2 administration blocks, a vehicle bay, 3 relay towers, a hardened entrance structure, and below it all, the server halls powering the attack. Could you keep your hands steady on that final approach? At 2:41 a.m., the first Tomahawk hits a relay node 50 kilometers away. Seconds later, another destroys a radar support site. The purpose is not spectacle. It is blindness by design. In the same window, F-35S suppress a mobile air defense element, trying to reposition along the route. That buys the helicopters exactly what they need, a sliver of invisibility. The Chinooks flare into the landing zone at 2:44. Ramps down, dust everywhere. Operators sprint into organized darkness. One team cuts toward the outer guard towers. Another heads for the generator annex. Mercer's assault element moves straight for the hardened entrance, thermals painting shapes behind concrete. The first contact is brutal and fast suppressed fire. 2 guards down, no prolonged exchange. A breacher stacks charges, thump, door peeled, men flood in. Inside, the air changes instantly. Cold concrete, recycled ventilation, the smell of hot electronics beneath industrial coolant. Fluorescent strips flicker as remote operators inside realize something impossible is happening. An American ground assault inside the sanctuary. They thought distance protected. Now, flip the perspective. From the enemy's view, this is the moment the prey realizes the predator was already behind it. A cyber specialist attached to the raid plugs a hardened exploitation kit into the first internal node. Another team hits the control room, zip-tying technicians, bagging laptops before anyone can trigger wipe protocols. Mercer's element drives downward, one landing at a time. Sublevel 1. Workstations, relay cabinets, local admins. Sublevel 2. The core. Row after row of rack-mounted servers, status lights blinking in clean geometric lines. 300 active servers, 47 storage arrays, backup batteries, cooling manifolds, enough processing power to coordinate malware staging, command relays, and spoofing operations across a theater. This is what the mission was really about. Not revenge, not a headline, erasure of capability. The exploitation window is short because it has to be. 90 seconds to identify priority hardware, 90 more to pull removable media, crypto material, address books, and routing maps. Then the kill phase begins. Thermite grenades drop into selected racks. Focus charges, shred switching cabinets, bolt cutters, and shotgun breaching rounds destroy fiber trunks. Another team kills the generators and floods the room with backup failure alarms. Fans wind down, lights flicker. Server lights that were blinking with machine certainty turn chaotic, then dark. 1 rack, then 10, then 50. At 2:49 a.m., the compound's outbound malicious traffic collapses by 80%. At 2:51, it drops to near zero. Somewhere in a regional operations center, an American analyst watching the live data flow sees the graph fall off a cliff. That's when the defenders know the second wave has died in the cradle. Outside, the fight is not over. Reinforcement trucks are moving. Small arms fire is snapping across the yard. One relay tower is rigged and blown, toppling in sparks. Another is cut with precision charges. The AC-130J is finally cleared hot against an approaching technical convoy on a road outside the compound. The first 30mm burst walks across the lead vehicles with terrifying accuracy, stopping the response before it can organize. An MQ-9 confirms no larger armored element is immediately closing. The clock matters now more than firepower. Get in, strip the brain, leave before the body reacts. By 2:56, every primary objective is complete. 300 servers disabled or destroyed, 47 storage arrays wrecked or removed, 2 generator halls gutted, 3 relay towers out. 1 command vault stripped of portable media, 9 cyber operators detained, 15 security personnel killed in the firefight. On the American side, 1 operator wounded by fragmentation, 2 treated for blast concussion, none left behind. The exfiltration is the hardest part, because it always is. You've got hard drives in capture bags, smoke rising from the ventilation shafts, alarms screaming through a dead network, and the full weight of geography reminding you that you are deep enough in enemy territory for every minute to feel borrowed. The Chinooks return low and fast. Rangers pull security on the perimeter. Mercer turns once before boarding and sees the compound breathing fire through broken concrete seams, not in one giant cinematic explosion, but in dozens of controlled failures, the exact kind professionals prefer. No wasted violence, no loose ends, just a system being methodically unmade. Wheels up at 3-2. The last American aircraft crosses back toward Iraq minutes later as the first larger Iranian response elements reach a battlefield already gone cold. Here's the aftermath of this fictional operation. Total duration from launch detection to exfiltration, 49 minutes. Shorter than a commute through Los Angeles traffic. Shorter than a football half. In that window, 52 airborne threats were thrown into the fight. 49 were destroyed. 3 landed without strategic effect. The cyber offensive they were designed to cover never achieved decisive disruption. The compound behind it lost 300 servers, 47 storage arrays, key routing hardware, backup power, and the operational confidence that matters most in shadow war. The belief that the sanctuary is safe. Strategically, the lesson is brutal. Modern conflict no longer gives you the luxury of separating cyber from kinetic, drones from code, or command decisions from machine speed. The side that wins is the side that sees the whole board faster. Missiles matter, drones matter. But data fusion, disciplined crews, interoperable systems, and the willingness to act on verified intelligence matter even more. While one side believed it was launching a clean ambush, the other had already mapped the path back to the source. That's the deeper point. Deterrence today is not just the ability to absorb a strike, it is the ability to trace it, survive it, and erase the attacker's capacity before the second blow lands. Information dominance is no longer support for war. In many scenarios, it is the war. And if you're wondering what truly decided this night, it wasn't any single missile, aircraft, or raid team. It was integration. Space sensors to radar crews to pilots, pilots to missile batteries, analysts to special operators. One network versus one network. One held, one collapsed. So, what does this reveal about future conflicts? Let's discuss. Subscribe for more strategic analysis.